Hi there, and welcome to my series, Juicy in Java. I'm your host, Juicy Absolute, where you bring the Java, I bring the Juicy. And this is where we sit down and head over important insight that will help to improve your life and go over tips to access your positive mind for daily activities involving your mentality. This week, a live episode of Juicy in Java, where we assess growth and mentality in both the stream game and in daily life. Enjoy, and make sure to subscribe if you like what you see, turn that notification bell on, and give this video a thumbs up if you like what you hear. Have a positive rest of your day. Welcome on in, Arevya. This is our 4th episode of our podcasts. I was very excited to have you. I wanted to actually have you on the show like 3 months ago, but you were already doing that one podcast on, I forget his name.
Johnny Plays Live.
That's it. So since you were doing that podcast, I didn't want to like bring you into another podcast at the same moment. So I was like, okay, I'll have you on the podcast in a couple months. It's fine. Let's just start off with the most basic streaming question. You know, what was your prime motivation to get into streaming?
It was so random. I have been watching YouTube, Let's Play YouTube, for so many years. I started watching it when I was around 6, like when Yogscast was big. When like Yogscast and Minecraft was big on YouTube. Okay. I started watching Let's Play then. And I wanted to do it, but I've never had the equipment to be able to do it. So I've always wanted to do it, but I was a teenager where that wasn't so tough. Like I didn't dare to jump into things I didn't have control of.
Okay.
So years went by and I met my now boyfriend and we started to watch speedruns together. After some time, I watched this a lot. It was a thing me and my boyfriend did, watching speedruns together. And he told me that, hey, you can actually stream from my PS4. And I was just like, oh, cool. Maybe I should try. But I didn't dare to do it because I was still afraid of doing something dumb or like people would hate me. I was afraid of all the hate you can get online. I ended up starting that, and then it was just a hobby. I did it on my PS4 for like over a year, and it was just when I had time. It wasn't anything big, but then I saved up money to get myself a computer. Then I started serious actually with my streaming this year. I haven't been streaming. I have had my channel live for like 4 years, but this year was the year I said like, this is actually something I want to do. I want to do that.
Okay.
So I ended up like going for it, setting myself some goals, which was things like streaming so and so often during the year, and which I have. I'm way over that number, but yeah. And then it was starting to build a community, and now it is to make my part of internet to be what I wished internet was for me when I started being online.
Okay.
When I started coming more into the gaming world, I went from just sitting at home gaming to go online and finding other people that love the same as I did. And I want to make a community that is what I missed when I wanted to start this.
Maybe a community that you've never been a part of, like so yeah. Maybe some qualities that you bring to the table, or maybe something you've never seen before.
Yeah, and also a place where like we do not bully. We include people, but we respect that you're allowed to have different opinions, and you are also allowed to talk about these opinions as long as you are respectful towards each other, and as long as you are nice. You're allowed to say almost anything, but you're not allowed to hate at others. You're not allowed to say things that goes against there as a person, but you're allowed to talk about subjects.
Right.
And I found that community other places, but not in a gaming world. So I wanted to like have that with my community where no questions is too dumb to ask. You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to ask, why do I tics sometimes because I have tics? You're allowed to ask that. I'm not going to be offended.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to say it's stupid.
Right. No, I agree.
Start that inclusive place where you can come by and hang out with friends. Have a good time. Yeah.
You said you had just started. So I thought you started like 3 years ago? Well, am I wrong on that?
It might be 3 years ago, but I can't remember. It was like fall maybe I don't
Okay.
know. Like in the start, it was just like whenever my boyfriend was out of the house, because we had such a small apartment that I needed to
Yeah.
stream in the living room.
Uh,
So I wished for him to be like out of the house, so he
right.
didn't need to like sit in my bedroom,
Yeah.
sitting there. So
Just
like
like
yeah,
wait until you're done, kind of
yeah,
thing.
just sitting there going like
Your boyfriend, he's also on Twitch?
he did stream actually before me. So like 4 years ago, he started streaming before me. He streamed
Oh.
games like Dark Souls and stuff like that. Yeah, he joins me whenever we reach another 100 followers. He joins me for a stream, and that is like whenever I have forced him to be with me for like 3 hours in a stream. He goes always off and goes like, "I am so glad it's 100 follower until next time." He loves it. He thinks it's fun, but it
Yeah.
takes so much energy from him.
Yeah.
Compared to me, where I get energy from it, from him is like, yeah, he's sitting on that show, he doesn't get energy. He does that from his music. So he's a
Yeah.
music producer and music maker, and he plays music as a
Mm-hmm.
hobby. And for him, that is what gives him the same energy that streaming gives me.
And do you think that you've ever found something that gives you as much energy as streaming in your past?
No.
No.
I have once felt it before, so confirmation when you're like 15,
Yeah.
around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that in Norway as well, but we also have the non-religious confirmation thing. It's a tradition thing. I went to that when I was 15, and they asked, can someone please have a speech at
Mm.
that day? And I was like, yay, please put me on the stage.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize is was in front of 1,400 people.
Oh man.
And I thought I was going to die when I went on, and I
Yeah.
got like all the lights, and I was like in a national costume. I got
Mm-hmm.
all the lights in my face, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
It was like something snapped inside of me. I just laughed. I made the audience laugh. I
Uh,
was like 15 years old,
yeah.
stupid teenager, and just loving my life.
It comes with similar qualities though. With
Yeah.
streaming, like being in front of people, like that sort of.
Absolutely. My mom laughs about it every time she sees me streaming, because I've always loved putting on a show. I come from Norway, you're asked to not be too much in Norway. We're asked to be more one of the
More
group.
confined, more.
Yeah, maybe.
Uh-huh. More traditional, maybe.
Yeah, but it's more like I've always been a bit of a bossy girl, and the school really didn't like that. So I was just like told to always don't talk so much, be more quiet,
Mm-hmm.
like don't have so strong opinions from society.
For sake of the community being here, what sort of games do you play on stream?
I love play games that are story driven. So I need to have a reason, it almost feel, for the game I'm playing. So games like story driven, like Final Fantasy, or actually Ori and the Blind Forest is also actually story driven somewhat.
Very.
Or I need a platformer. So I need a reason. I can't be the person that gets like Minecraft and then I start like being creative in that way. I am not creative in any way that way. And most of the games that either are games from our childhood or it's game that in some way is cozy.
Okay.
We have that Norwegian word koselig,
Yeah.
which is sort of the same as cozy, but not completely the same.
Okay.
But it's making that mood. Like you can come to my stream and you will just have 2 to 3 hours where you relax and don't think about the world so much, and just have sort of that fun you had when you were a kid, running over to your neighbor, knocking on their door and just like, do you want to play Mario?
Yeah.
And then you just sat on the sofa together and like ate a bag of chips and played Mario for
I love it.
so and so many hours.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm among friends.
Are there a couple people in your stream that are regulars, like every time they come in and you see them? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's gotta be a good feeling.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. It feels like you made something that is worth the like work you put into it. Because in the same way where I feel like I'm among friends, I've heard others say the same thing. I have had people send me messages saying like, yeah, I might not talk that much, but I log on every Sunday stream because it gives me a cool down from the week, or like I just want to have some hours not thinking about things, which is really, really good.
That's a very positive way to for a community member to kind of tie into your stream and say, "Oh my God, I just want to relax. I just want to come into a stream." Because that's how I see streams too. Is with community members, it's the same thing. I get some community members come in and then they say, "I'm sorry, I'm not talking. I'm just going to be here for a lurk." I'm like, that's completely fine. If you're
Yeah.
relaxing here and if you're enjoying your time, oh my gosh. How do you feel about the whole lurk to chatter conversation?
Lurker makes Twitch go round.
That's what I'm
Like
saying. Yeah.
the active people in your community and channel are just a small percent of the actual people that are there.
Yeah.
And there's really important to remember that the lurkers are giving you something. Of course, it's always nice having chatters because then you have something to talk about and it's easier to hold that conversation or entertainment
Oh
because
yeah.
you can get the response. Are people liking this? Not liking this? Should I change the subject? I got a picture from on Snapchat from someone I didn't think watched it anymore. He took a picture of how many points he had, and he was like, "Well,
Ah,
it's I soon need to start using these points." He just said,
wow.
and
Yeah.
it was so like, "Oh my god, he had over 100,000 points," and I was just like, "That means you have been in
Whoa.
there so much, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know."
Yeah.
And it also gave me a stop. It gave me like, you need to understand that this is bigger than only the
Mm-hmm.
people talk. Even though
Yeah.
they are amazing
Yeah.
for what they bring,
For
it's also
sure.
more than just that.
It's hard to wrap your mind around that until you start to see a reality of it like you just did. I look at it this way. If you're gonna get big, if you're gonna get numbers within like 200 to 300 people and you're not a fan of lurkers, you, you got something else coming for you because there's gonna be 200 to 300 chatters that you're gonna be trying
Yeah.
to like deal with. Like lurkers make that so easy. Streaming to that many people is why I want to do this. I just want to better the world that way. I think that that's how I can provide my knowledge, and I'm sure you're similar on that, huh?
Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
we have on Twitter something called streamer Twitter, which is
Mm-hmm.
just normally people who stream get to see each other's thing. Like it's nothing special, but it's just the page gives you more of other people's streams due to you being a streamer yourself.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
there are people on Twitter that are like just like, I don't like lurkers at all. And I really don't understand it because
Yeah.
if you watch at the big, so like I was watching Grand Pube the other day, which
Yeah.
is one really big speedrunner.
For sure.
And somebody said in this chat, if you have 3,000 people watching you, why are the chats so quiet? And he was just like, well, if I ask all of my lurkers to start typing out, you will see how fast my chat actually goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it started going fast. And he just explained that it's okay for him. Like he play games you have to concentrate a bit about when you watch them.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said that due to it being lurkers, I can also pay attention to the people that want to speak. They
Yeah.
want to have something to say about the subject we're talking about or what happens.
Yeah.
And it should be okay that not everybody need to like have an opinion on what's happening every second of your stream.
Oh
It is a
yeah.
weird mentality.
Uh-huh.
Like lurkers are amazing. We need them.
My wife has certain people that she watches on Super Mario Maker 2 that she just goes in. She never ever said a word. Do you know Ryukar?
I heard the name, yeah.
Super Mario Maker 2 streamer, used to be a big Super Mario Maker 1 streamer, but like still pulls in like 1,500 viewers, and she always goes in there and listens and like laughs and does this and that, but she has never said a word within probably like a year and a half that she's been in there. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
like streaming is weird thing in between. So when you see at medias, different kind of medias, you have like active medias. So social media are sort of an active media because you need to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like radio, which is the secondary media, which does terms out to be something you have on while doing other things, mostly driving or
Mm-hmm.
eating breakfast and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Podcast and telly. The TV was for once primary media, but now has turned out to be more secondary because people just have it on in background.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitch is like living in a weird limbo between being a
Yeah.
primary and a secondary media,
Oh, for
which is really
sure.
interesting. So people perceive streaming in different ways, like the viewer they and user of the product views it in two different ways. And that is also hard for us who wants to maybe try and build a community or try and be bigger and or grow our community to like, how do you remember those that are your primary viewers, but also those who have Twitch as a secondary media,
Yeah.
which have Twitch on while they're cleaning their bedroom,
Yeah.
or doing their housework,
Yeah.
or walking the dog. I've had somebody saying that they had me on their ears while walking the dog.
I love
So
that.
they didn't even see the game I was playing. They just heard me laugh and
Yeah.
snort because I snort sometimes.
Laugh and snort.
And it was just like hours of that, and I was just like, okay, well, have fun.
Well, I've been to your streams. I love the energy that you have within the streams, and you provide more. I mean, you said cozy. Other certain things are like very happy and high spirited. How have you come to like be that person?
How are you? How do you exist, Arevya?
Yeah, how do you exist with that energy?
Yeah.
I think that people would like to know that.
This is me. This is just how I am. I have 2 modes. It's my I am tired, I need to sleep mode, and I am on mode. When I'm streaming, people see my on mode.
Mhm.
It is like something happens. So when like my camera goes on, when I push that live button,
Yeah.
something just says in my brain and in my body, and I was just
Mhm.
like, I'm on.
Yeah.
And I get so happy. It's like I get like a million endorphin released for a second.
Yeah.
And that is why I am how I am.
Okay.
In more like non-stream life, I am more chill. But I've always been a person, especially after getting better from a mental illness, that does look at the life with like a silver lining. So like I have big hopes for humanity, and I have like big hopes for the future and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've always been that kind of a person. So that is why it is easy for me to keep it on. And I've always had like this burning passion for like ethics and morals and like humanity and wanting to do and make the world a better place. So for me, it's not that hard to be like this. And people like, I don't know, I like being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
There is the thing, like some people ask me like, how can I be so energetic as you are? And I cannot answer that, because for me it feels natural. It's completely natural. If you want like some people want to learn, then they have to talk to somebody that is might be shy in front of camera. How has they worked with it? Yes, I am like a really, really big introvert. I prefer being home alone. But I am in no way or form shy. I love to talk. I can talk for hours.
Yeah.
I do think my dog even thinks I talk too much because I talk to her all the time.
I treat this as seriously as I can. So maybe some of my character motives that I carry outside of Twitch are just like exasperated, maybe like by 1 to 10%. I feel like people like that energy, so I give them just a little more energy than I would regularly have off, off of Twitch.
I do think that is normal. So I've seen some people say like, oh, but you need to be like true to yourself always. And I feel that is a bit weird, because everybody has different modes. So like when I talk to my grandma and when I talk to my mom, I talk different ways.
Yeah.
Like I can say anything to my mom. Me and her can discuss anything. I cannot say anything to everything to my grandma.
Yeah.
My no. There are no subjects with my grandma. And that is like the same thing. Like when you're at work, you do things and things. When you're home, you have different moods, or different, maybe not personalities, but you have different moods and different how you act throughout the day. That is normal. And how everybody is. Somebody has less, somebody has more, somebody has like a stage life, and that is just normal.
Yeah. And some people shine more on the stage than and some people are more natural with it, and some people are going to find it super awkward, and that's okay. Like that just makes you the personality that you have. Like the characteristics, everyone's unique, and not everyone is going to fit in one type of shell. There's a billion shells out there for you to fit in. And, and there are also a million different ways to fit in on Twitch. Twitch isn't a set pattern of like you need to. Well, you have some ways we have seen, like the numbers say that if you do this, the possibility are bigger, but it's not set, or it's not
doesn't mean like that is the only way. And it
Yeah.
also, like, all the ways to like the top
Yeah.
isn't set on Twitch
Oh my
either.
gosh, I agree with you 100%. Like when I watch YouTube videos on, how to grow on Twitch, I take what I think I can learn from that and I utilize it.
Yeah.
And then the other 20 things I ignore.
Yeah, that was like so funny when you asked me to come on, because somebody said to me, aren't like your biggest pet peeve those YouTube videos like how to grow on Twitch? And I was just like, yes, they are.
Yeah.
Because like I luckily have a degree in business,
Mhm.
so I can take a subject and I can see and I can like analyze it throughout the knowledge I have gained over
Mhm.
years and years of studying,
Yeah.
and then say, okay, I know why you're saying this.
Yeah.
But I feel there is so many that comes onto Twitch or YouTube, I mean,
Yeah.
that tries to figure out like how to grow, and there is so much bullshit out there from
Yeah.
so many times people that do not have anything else than their own experience
Mhm.
put into it. I do think there is a good intention. So if you make YouTubes on like how to grow on Twitch, like
Mhm.
you're more than welcome to do it. But they have been like and a pet peeve is supposed to be something that isn't actually something you need to be annoyed about, but you get annoyed about it.
Yeah.
And it slightly gets me annoyed about like, but how can you tell this? Because so many of them are things that they don't build up with facts.
Yeah.
Or they say things like, but this streaming is so unique to other businesses, and it's not.
Mhm.
If we look at the
Mhm.
numbers and things like that, it's still a business.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
also the biggest reason, like, what do you want with your streaming career? Do you
Mhm.
want to be the very best, or do you want to have fun with it, or do you literally only want it as work? Like, there are so many ways, and that way will not fit for everyone.
Mhm.
And it's like everything you learn have to be filled in what you actually want to get out of this. Of course, now I'm talking more about like not how to set up OBS or like how to use your microphone. I'm thinking more of
Mhm.
those like how to entertain, because it's so hard
Oh my
to sell
gosh.
somebody. Oh my god. Like, I like
Yeah.
those of I've myself looked at those like how to small talk. I
Mhm.
needed to start learning how to small talk in the start.
Yeah.
That is hard when your chat is silence and everything is silence. Like,
Yes.
how can you small talk? Things
Yes.
like that. Some of them are my pet peeve when I see like somebody with my numbers said like, I know the reason how to be big at Twitch, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you knew it, why aren't you bigger?
And yeah, I honestly don't even think the big streamers kind of know. I think in a way we all know that it takes time. The time versus the amount of intensity that you have. So like the consistency and intensity go a long way. It doesn't even matter how entertaining you are. The thing is, the more time and consistency that you put in and intensity, you'll start to develop yourself as a character, but like not as a
Yes.
fake character, as like you, and you'll start to develop like
What do you like?
yeah, what makes
Absolutely.
what's easy to talk about. These things like how to attract your audience. Like these are things that us streamers are always looking toward.
Absolutely. This was about something completely different, but it was sort of in the same of like how to build a career and for some people they want to have a career on Twitch. And then it's like how much is talent, how much is luck, and how much is hard work. And I saw somebody, I sadly don't remember who he is, because he had the most brilliant saying of, yes, there is always a small amount of talent or a small amount of luck involved,
Right.
but you have to do the work. So
Yeah.
and
That's
he
like
told it
baseline.
that is baseline. And so many people just don't start to do the work. You have to start just streaming, and then you will slowly and start to like understand what happened.
Yeah.
And he told it in a way of like, you're at home and you know that tomorrow it will come a boat on the harbor and you need to go to the harbor. If you don't start working now, you will not be at that harbor when that boat comes. You only know that the first 20 people that are at that harbor will get on the boat. But you don't know who everybody else are or how where they started in this town. You just have to start working. So when you work and work and work and work, so when an opportunity, aka the boat, comes around, you're at that harbor ready to jump on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need a bit of luck. Like, the bit of luck that the boat comes, but
Mhm.
you also need to be ready and
Yeah.
have the work and done the work and be at the level that the luck can do something for you.
For sure.
Because I do think, like, if I was now to be raided by somebody with like 10,000 viewers, of course that would have given me maybe 100 new followers to 1,000 new followers,
Right.
but there is no reason for them to come back. That was just
Yeah.
a one day thing where they came by and it was fun and la ha ha.
Mhm.
And it was most likely awesome, but it wouldn't give you something long term. It would give you a short term boost, which is always awesome. They are amazing when they happen,
For sure.
but it's not something to build a career on or build like a long lasting life, if that what you want with Twitch.
So what you're saying is that you see maybe a lot of Twitch streamers who are just looking for that big break from a big raid, maybe? That streamers are like trying to get that extra edge, but the thing is the extra edge comes from within yourself.
And I also do think that I don't think that it's streamers who says this and thinks this. I also think it's people around who like thinks that it's all up to like talent,
just
and
like everyone, basically.
Yeah,
like a
talent
universal
or
kind
luck.
of.
Yeah, like it's if you want to do this, it's luck. But if you
Mhm.
ask somebody who is like the best in what they do, if you were to ask Simone Biles, which is like the best gymnastic girl in the US ever, I think she would laugh at you if you told her it was like talent. She would laugh at you so hard because she have worked every day since she was like 5 year old, come this far, actually have come in her life.
Right.
And I'd also do think that that is so. It's so important putting the work into it, not only relying on that luck thing.
Yeah. So that leads me into my next question is what keeps your drive going as a streamer and outside of streaming, whatever other hobbies you do?
I don't have the best health. I am mentally ill and I'm also ill, like my body is quite ill. So I don't have a lot of time in my day. I need to sleep a lot. I need to like be careful that I eat enough. I need to like take a lot of time to just relax. So a lot of my medication is to just lie on the sofa and being bored. So I don't have that many hobbies. Streaming is like my one hobby, and I've started to learn a bit Japanese since I have a lot more time now that I am at home office. I can't go to work at the moment due to, the plague. So I don't do that many things. I have like a limited time throughout the day to do things. So for me, the reason why streaming gives me motivation is two things. So I want to one day live off it. I want to have that possibility. I don't know if that is possible yet, but I hope that I one day.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
I hope that
it
one
is
day.
100% possible. Promise you that.
I hope so. I hope that one day I can start a company.
Yes.
Which is the smartest thing to do here in Norway. That difference for every country, but like start a Inc., which what you will call it in America.
Okay.
We call it an AS, and to be living off doing content creation or having like talks about streaming and networking and things like that. I wish I could live off that one day.
Yeah.
So that gives me the motivation, and two, because it gives me energy. So I know that if I have a bad day and then I go and stream, I will have maybe less energy, but I will have a better day.
Yeah.
Because the people, the community, everything around it makes it amazing. So when people are nice to me, it gives me something.
Right.
And people are amazing. Holy macaroni, my community are so supportive to me, towards me, and I am so lucky.
Yeah.
Because they are always so nice. Whenever I say I had a bad day, they just like send so many nice messages. They are like, oh, if I could hug them like every day, I would do so. They are amazing.
The fact that you can create that sort of happiness for yourself, therefore, like you said earlier, increases the value of your, living situation outside of streaming, which is what having a job is literally all about. This whole working away your life thing it doesn't work for me. It's like I want to do streaming because it gives me a smile on my face every day. It gives me the energy, the motivation to like want to do this the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year. Like that's what a job should be, And
But also, like, I am privileged enough to have that
Yeah.
choice, because not
Me too.
everybody has that choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because some people need to have a job just to like make
Right.
their life go around. So
Exactly.
it is definitely a privilege to be able to, even though I am ill, I can have a part-time job and I can also have a hobby.
Mhm.
Because if I were to live in like most other countries in the world, that would not be a thing. I am lucky being born in Norway and being ill, because at least here in Norway you get help.
Let's move on to your favorite moments as a streamer. It could be based off of your community. It could be based off of maybe a game you played in the past. What are you thinking?
I played Medieval, came out last year with a remake. So I played the original game, and then I played the remake. It was really awesome. I got raided for the first time by a big raid from I do think 71 people.
Okay.
Viewers, which was amazing. That was like the first time I understood the importance of having consistency. So with the fact that we played the original game and then took it over to remake, it made like a whole thing. We made a whole thing out of it, and like that whole experience was amazing. And my second thing was the same, but with Final Fantasy VII. I've never played Final Fantasy VII before, so I played it for the first time with my community. I almost crying because that just felt so surreal. Like I could bring a childhood memory back to life for so many people, and also they could see me watch a story which is so amazing. It's artwork that is, it's a artwork I want to place on the same level as other undying artworks like Mozart or Shakespeare. Thank you.
There we go.
Shakespeare in the chat. There we go. So like it, due to it like being, it was written 20 years ago, it still felt so real, and it hit me so hard 20 years ago later, and it was still so fitting into society. Even though the society have changed so much in 20 years, it still, all the thing about environment, like ruining the environment, doing things that are right and wrong, staying up against oppression, things like that. It was so amazing. And my community, they got to see me having the same feeling they had as a child, and I do think that was just amazing.
And I think that one of the best parts about having people who literally don't have to donate anything, I mean, that's another topic for anyone who does that sort of stuff. The value is, for me, is the fact that they understand like where I want to be in life, and people see that from you too. It's like they know that this, you're taking it seriously, and you're providing almost I look at it as volunteer work at this point until it becomes something that can actually support. But until that day, we're volunteering our time and volunteering what we think we could put into the world, and adding our values, and people are seeing that. And so I think that's the whole thing, is that that's what you're giving to them, and that's what they're giving back in return, and they just want to see more of that happiness and quality. About your streams in general, do you plan them at all? Do you have certain days that you stream? Do you have certain hours that you stream throughout the week?
Yes, so I stream for what we call Central European Standard. So every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time.
Okay.
And then 2 p.m. on Sundays, Central European Standard Time.
When a new person comes into your community that you've never seen before, what's a good way in welcoming them from your perspective?
If I were to see him or her or they in my chat, I would just go, "Hi, how has your day been?" And then I keep it to that, because I don't want people that lurk to go away, because some people, if they get too much called out, they will actually leave. And I never ever say something to someone who has not said something in my chat or followed or subscribed or something like that. So even though I know somebody's on, I never say their name until they actively start talking to me or doing something. And also, if somebody follows, many people follow and then they don't say anything, I never harp on about it. I always just say hi and ask how they've been, and then that's it. And the reason for that is that just like I don't want to scare people away. Some people wish to stay lurking hardcore time, and they are so allowed to.
Yeah. As a Twitch lurker, are you ever lurking on other streams whenever you're not streaming yourself?
Yes, I am a big lurker.
Yeah.
I am the biggest of the lurkers. No, but I had to learn that I needed to talk to people to like the networking part of things, and like how like I have a lot of people in my community that stream themselves, and I wanted to like show my support, so I had to actually learn that I needed to chat to people. I have my stream on my television,
Okay.
and it's just on. It's just there while I'm go around and do my stuff in the house or asleep or cuddle with a dog. I have had to force myself to say hello, to start talking. But like, however would you get to know other people, or however could I show support to my community of those in my community who are streamers themselves?
You said you don't have many hobbies that you participate in other than streaming at this point?
No. Streaming takes up a lot of time. But I have my dog.
Yeah.
I walk with my dog. I'm doing some effort on a cosplay. Streaming is my one big hobby. On my channel right now, we have a donation goal for getting me a camera so I can start filming videos for YouTube, because I do cross stitch. I've always done cross stitch, and I want to make like cross stitch pictures while I talk about the subject that I like, or talk about things that I find is important to talk about. I try to get my old hobbies into the streaming world, and that is fun. I find ways to be creative with my makeup.
What drives you as a person? As a person in general, not just a Twitch streamer, but what drives you going toward goals, going toward new heights?
I have a really, really high sense of justice. I get internal angry if things are unjust. It has given me a high moral, and it's giving me a high ethical view on the world. If that ethical and moral view is the right view, I don't know. That is what the fun question about ethics and morals are. We all have difference. I've always been ill. Normally people didn't think it affected me. It's turned out later in my life it really, really affected me. But like as a kid, you most likely just looked at me and said like, oh, she is a kid that cries a lot. You didn't think that it was actually something wrong. I traveled around Europe with my now ex-boyfriend, and I ended up being really, really ill on that trip. And when I came home, I ended up actually being ill a whole year. My body shut down. I had to move home. Some days were so bad, my dad had to carry me in and out of bed. When I got to be better, I realized that I could never be what I wished to be. Like, I could never go back working 100%. And I ended up going into a sorrow that ended up being so long and serious. I ended up getting post-traumatic stress syndrome from everything I have gone through in the medical field. So I have a lot of medical trauma. And then I started to go to psychologists. I asked my mom, well, I said to my mom that I have stopped caring about being alive. My mom luckily knew someone who could take me in, and I got a really, really good relationship to my psychologist. And we started working on my self-worth. We started working on, normally in mental health you work on like a cognitive or something like that, but that didn't work so good at me because it didn't work. Not everybody can get that. Like in mental health you need to just figure out what works for you. And we started working on my self-worth. My psychologist had like a mantra saying you're worth at least 1,000 Norwegian kroners. It sounds weird, but it was something about starting to like seeing that I was worth something. And he started like working with me for years, and I started actually wanting to live again. I had like days I started crying because I was afraid that I was just like, oh my god, what? Did you know that people can die whenever? I said to my boyfriend, and he just looked at me and was just, yes. Yeah. Welcome to life. It's called life. And I was just like, oh my god, what is this? But I love you so much, I don't want to. And he was just like, well, welcome back to the human world, honey. You've been away for some years, but welcome back.
Yeah.
And started like from there and worked my way upwards. And I have now did like two things he learned me is to have the slightly discipline to just wake up and do something, but to like understand also that my self-worth is not the same as my productivity or my success.
Right.
So if I don't do anything a day, I am as worthy as the day that I am on Juicy Absolute's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The day I only cry, I am as worthy as the day I will, I don't know, run a marathon. I will never do that. But if I were to do that, and like, I am still worthy.
Yeah.
As a human being, I am
Yes.
worthy. And that is what drives me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that I am allowed to be happy.
Yes.
Like, I'm allowed to, and I'm also allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to have shitty days. I'm allowed to hate the world. I'm allowed to love the world. I'm allowed to be a human being. So that is what drives me. It sounds so weird, but it just drives
No, it's
me
not weird at all.
Yeah, so it just drives me, and I want, now that I finally have gotten to terms with this is my life, I can't get healthy. I will forever be ill. There is no cure. I have things that cannot be fixed in my body, and I needed to learn that that is okay.
Acceptance.
I can, yeah, acceptance, and it took so many years for me. And I have like this driven thing now where it's just like, well, but what can I do for the world? Well, I can make a cozy place on the internet. And I work for a research facility that research unjustment in the world. That is so amazing, being able to work a place where people want to change the world for a better place.
And you have a strong passion in that too.
Really strong passion in it.
Yeah.
And I also want other people, the worth I see in other people, I want them to see that in themselves. So when they come into my channel, or when I see a friend and they like, I want people to know how much I love them. Like the world, like human beings, as like and can I hug everyone, please?
We all need hugs here. Let's just get hugs all around.
Can I just go around and say I'm proud of people? Because I am. Because I've been in a shitty place and I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to wake up. I know how hard it is sometimes to have bad health. Of course, I have privileges in life though. I had like a family that is supportive. When I read about teenagers and that has been thrown away from their family for being gay, I get so angry because it's so unjust. How can somebody not love somebody, their own child? And I just want to, if they can't be loved in their own family, then I'm going to at least give them a place that at least feel welcome.
Life is all about what you want to make it, and never listen to what the traditional method might be. Listen to what your method is and go with that and vibe off of yourself.
Whenever I doubt my self-worth, which happens all the time, I'm still mentally ill. I have post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I will forever have days where I will just burst out crying.
I think that's completely validated. Yeah,
it absolutely is. And like, but it has nothing to do with those days. It has to do with what you do after those days. So my psychologist or therapist have always tried to learn me the fact that when you're in that state, you just have to survive that state. When you are pissed, when you are in that state, there isn't always things. Some people have the capability to do something about it. I can't do things about it. So I talk from my perspective now. So like, survive the bad days, and then when you feel like you're able to start working, then you have to think, how long did it take me to get out of it this time compared to last time? And that is how I can figure out if I am in a better state than I was a year ago and a worse state. It's not how you have it, it's how you handle it.
So that's what this podcast is all about. It's not just about Twitch, but it's also about some of the mental notes that we mentioned about accepting yourself and like just embracing who you are and just becoming a better person with great self-worth and everything. Great job today. You did awesome.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh yeah,
this is really, really awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming on to our 4th installment of Juicy and Java podcast, and we will have more in the future just in case any of you are wondering. Yeah, we'll see you then.
See you later. Good night, sleep tight. The new night,
Yeah.
let bed bug fight.